Next, awful fingerboards. It's very meta. So awful is, I like awful. I think they have a pretty steady brand image to them with kind of like this edgier. Is this a cookies collab? Is this real? Okay. Don't know how I feel about that one. Are these supposed to be like transients up here, like a SoundCloud thing? Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this. Cookies. Yeah, that's kind of whack, I'm not gonna lie. I know Jack from Awful, who just got put on this past year. He lives in Michigan, so I've seen him at a couple events. And I was trying some of his boards, some of the Awful boards that he has, and I really, really like the molds that they use. I think they're super solid. They have a low and a high mold, I'm pretty sure. I think I was using the low mold. Very good. I am a huge fan of the mold. But I will say that the graphics are a little bit of a mixed bag for me. Because at certain points, I feel like they might be going a little overboard with, you know, the edginess and like the blood and stuff. Like this, it really isn't for me. But I do really like some of the rips that they do. Like this Baker, like Andrew rip is cool. I think this is like supposed to be like Lottie's art in the background. And then I really like this Alien Workshop rip. I think this is really good. I don't know what it is. It's just like, it might seem like a cop-out to go with like an already existing graphic, but I just think it's cool to have like skateboard graphics on fingerboards. And then it also tying into like the brand itself. You could see it as tacky, but I think it's cool. This one is, it's all right. I feel like this woman is gonna kill me. I really like this one. I'm wondering if the barbed wire is needed or not, because like it could be taken out and then have the skulls in the background with this picture, or the skulls taken out and it just being black with the green barbed wire, but that also might be just a little too plain. But I think this works. I like the two greens complementing each other from the picture and the barbed wire. I just don't think barbed wire it's not my thing, but I like this one a lot. I actually think this is the exact font that I have on my shirt right now. Shout out Nails. I like this. It's simple, but like, if you can't already tell, I'm partial to dogs. This one's cool too. It's kind of like that Red Rum Dog Pound kind of thing going on. Awful with the acronym. I don't really know what the point of the acronym is, but the text feels a little out of place a little bit. But I like the lighting on this hand and the gun. If anything, I'm not like a crazy big fan of like dark graphics with like a ton of black on them, just because I feel like I can't distinguish the top and the bottom if I'm flipping my board. But so earlier in the video I was praising like 3 other majority black graphics, but I think the only reason why I thought to mention that I wasn't necessarily a fan of them is because on this website it's literally just all black, and so that's probably why my brain thought to just bring that up, so in case you were confused. But yeah, back to the video, because too much black I can't, it like messes with me. See, this is reminding me a little bit more of hockey with a little more serious vibe, which if that's your thing, great. It's not particularly mine, but this one is simple. This little guy is angry. I don't like this one. I don't know. It just doesn't really, I don't know why, but I like this one's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I can't really pinpoint why. Maybe it's just like this hand is like freaking me out. Messing with hands, like, that's why AI is kind of weird, is what it does to the digits that we can immediately tell is not normal when we see an AI image, because like, you know, I'm not saying this is AI. This is not AI. But whenever like hands are like messed with, it kind of, I don't know why, it just like, it kind of weirds me out. I like this one a lot. Simple. No logo. It's just Scream. I think this is really good and effective. Again, with like the Andrew A thing, I think that's cool. I just think it's like, it's a Baker graphic on a fingerboard. That's not a tech deck. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. That's really all I have to say. I think their identity and their image is super cool, and I think they're very consistent with what they're putting out. This one's cool too, actually. All cops are awful. See, it kind of plays into the name. That has merit being on this board because it's kind of like an ACAB graphic. I think that's pretty solid. This one's a little much. Yeah, not really into this one. But I do like the consistency with like this old English kind of text. I think that was a good choice. Okay, awful, solid. I think they're really solid. Some of the graphics are not for me, and there are some that really stand out to me that I really like. So they're going in the solid tier. Next. Okay, so I was debating on putting this one in because I'm pretty sure this isn't a brand anymore, but 22 Decks is a brand from the UK. He has an absurd amount of graphics. When he was, I think the website's down actually. Shit. But the amount of graphics he had on the website was absurd. So yeah, 22 is kind of like all over the place. I do get sort of like a I smoke weed kind of vibe when I see some of these graphics. These might be customs actually. I ordered this custom last year, the sci-fi graphic, which was kind of sketch, if I'm being honest. I DM'd to order this like custom sci-fi deck, and he showed me like the whole process. He was like sending me videos and pictures and stuff. So I wasn't really worried about like, I don't know, scamming, even though I have heard that this guy has scammed in the past. So by the grace of God, I was able to get this deck. But when I got it, the graphic was like, it looked like it was just laid on top of an already existing graphic that he just like picked up. And the graphic was like, it was not heat transfer. It was like some sort of like, it was almost like a gummy kind of like elastic texture when it would peel off, which wasn't very great. I mean, I paid a pretty decent amount of money for this. So with that being said, as much as, you know, I can say about the graphics, he has screwed a ton of people over. From what I've heard on, like, I saw on Reddit, I saw on, like, in all of his Instagram posts, bro, I ordered a deck from you like a month ago and you still haven't sent it or responded to any of my emails. What's going on? I highly doubt that he's heard anything since, because this guy went like off grid last year. I'm pretty sure. The website's down. I doubt he's responding to anybody anymore. We ordered a deck 6 weeks ago and have received nothing, no response, and now the site is down. Same guy. Bro, I ordered a deck from you. Yeah, so people are getting screwed over. So, with that being said, bad. No matter what I feel about the graphics, I can't justify putting it any higher, because that's just bad business practice, and we don't want any of that in fingerboarding, and we don't want to celebrate any of that in fingerboarding.
22 also had a couple of collabs with Cowply and Collier. Judging on the previous business practices that were discussed, I have a hard time believing that those are even legit. So that's a whole other level of just like scummy business practice of just like taking names and brands to use for your graphics. When he made posts about the releases of those graphics, he tagged Cowply and Collier in each of them. Neither of them liked the post or commented on the post, which is just really fishy. So that is what's leading me to believe that they're ripped from both companies. So yeah, that shit just sucks. Like, what are you doing?
So I guess just as a statement to put in this video, I'm using this as an example of what not to do if you're running a company, any company, not even just fingerboarding, any company. Bad business practices suck, and they suck for everybody. So yeah, Very bad. We're moving on. 8 equals D. 8 equals D is super sick. I think some of these graphics are really good, and kind of similarly to like some of the stuff that Balcony has, is like they're kind of taking the piss on some of these, like intentionally, just because it's funny. Like this 8 equals D deck is just very appropriate for the brand and just for the lack of seriousness. And I think that's really funny. I own this one as a popsicle, which is just like a squirt gun, just like on a sidewalk with like the shadow. I think it's just a really interesting way to portray like a picture on a board. Because if you're not really paying attention, you're kind of just glancing, this like, you can't really tell this is a shadow unless you like look at the squirt gun. So like it's kind of like this cool, almost looks like spray paint, but I'm pretty sure it's just a shadow, and this is like concrete, like on a sidewalk. I just think this is like a super unique, like uber simple graphic, but I think it works really well. This is like one of my favorite decks that I have. This like Jesus graphic is so funny. Like white Jesus. This Yao Ming, I'm pretty sure it's Yao Ming, with like no arm. It almost looks like statuesque. This is gonna be a crazy take, but this almost looks like old like Greek mythology or just like stone like sculptures. But it looks like as if a person was just turned into one of those like old like ancient stone sculptures, and like the arm is missing. It gives off like that statuesque kind of vibe. I might be looking way too deep into this, but I just think it's funny. This like I love you is kind of fried, but it works. This brand is fried, but like in a good way. Like a lot of this stuff isn't really meant to be taken seriously. Like these naked Barbie dolls, it's so weird. I don't know. I think all of this works. I think it's fried in the best way possible. You know, maybe we should make a fried tier. Yeah, we're doing it. We're doing a fried tier. Yeah, 8 equals D is fried, but in a good way. 8 equals D. I love you. Next, Plenty Chips. Plenty Chips is a very interesting brand to me because I feel like there's like not very much known about the company. There was kind of some drama, I think, in the past year where he went under or like had some like mental health stuff come up, and he just like didn't fulfill any orders, and so people were like in his comments like, dude, what is going on? Like they like tons of people ordered stuff and he like wasn't able to follow through. But then like earlier this year, or maybe even last year, he showed up again on his Instagram and did every order, which is good to see. You know, we often don't really think about like the people that are behind companies like this. Like this stuff it's not like black and white, like that simple. Like there's work that goes into this stuff, and burnout is real, and that is definitely a mental thing.
I could be saying this about 22 decks as well, but I think the difference is that with 22 decks, it felt more of like a cash grab to just get in and get out with the money. And as of right now, we haven't heard anything from him. So our default stance is going to be that guy's shitty, and we shouldn't allow that into fingerboarding. With Plenty Chips seemingly doing the same thing, he did come back and made things right and fulfilled all those orders, and is still continuing to run business as usual. So he's building his reputation back up, and I think that's known through the community, and I think he's taken more seriously now. So the difference between 22 decks and Plenty Chips is that one has integrity and the other doesn't, and I'll let you decide which is which.
Some people aren't cut out, but then some people are, and they make it right. So besides all of that, just a little background, I guess. Plenty Chips is a super obscure and just like really odd brand. The brand image is super weird, but I think it's really cool. Plenty Chips and Catfish Barbecue do a lot together, and they recently put out this collab last month, or a couple months ago. This collab is super interesting. This is like a very graphic with like these fish guts right here, and then like the head of this catfish. The theme is there, of course, but super like jarring like pictures just like kind of plastered together, which is pretty cool. This cat with like the meme of like, I don't remember what this is called, but it's just like supposed to be like the truest form. The cat drinking. Oh, it's a cat and a fish. I didn't even see the fish. This one's alright. This one didn't really speak to me too much. This one is super cool. I own this one. This is what I can only imagine is just like a picture of a school desk with all these scribbles and all these little notes. This is such a good idea. Like, this is just like super cool to see on a board. And it looks really good in person. But yeah, these are pretty good. These Plenty Chips graphics. I think they're Plenty Chips graphics. They're like a mix of both Catfish and Plenty Chips, but I don't know who like designed them. I did buy this one, but I ended up selling it because I didn't really enjoy the shape. Even though it looks really cool, it was just like super awkward for whatever reason. Oh yeah, and this one too. Super, just like, what? Like an old tech deck, just a fingerboard on a fingerboard. It's kind of fried, but it's cool. So as I was saying, there's just something like super odd about these graphics. Like, this is just super obscure. Obscure is like the best word that I can say. And this one's really interesting. It's almost as if it's like a picture that was torn up or something, but it's like someone put tape on it and they ripped it off and it like took part of the picture away. Super interesting. I am a huge fan of this technique of almost making dipped boards. They're not actually dipped, but it's just the colors of the plies that make them look like they're dipped. I love it when people do that. Like, that is such a cool design choice, and these colors are very cool as well. That's just so satisfying to me. Like, those look so good. I do, with as weirded out as I seem about some of these graphics, I do think they're really good though. This one's kind of cool. It almost reminds me of like those old like Windows screensavers with like the moving pipes and stuff. It's not quite like that, but I like this off-kilter kind of positioning of the logo. Also, just Plenty Chips, the name is just super unique. Oh, this is really cool. This is good. Like, these silhouettes, these are almost like what you'd see in a therapy session with like these ink blots. This one's interesting. Normally I wouldn't like something like this, but the pictures are like almost pixelated, as if it was like low res or something. Like, it got put through like some sort of like compression. Obscure and sophisticated are the words I would use to describe some of these graphics. Basically all of these graphics. Like, there are almost none that stray away from the theme of what I'm picking up from these graphics. Like, they are all giving me the same exact brand identity, which is really good. Well, hold on. Never mind. I forgot about this one. This is just, I don't know, this feels really cheap to me. Unless there's just something I'm not understanding and I don't get it. But this one feels a little out of place to me. I think it has to do with like the colors and what seems just like a lazily kind of placed Plenty Chips just right in the middle there. I don't know. Besides that, oh, like, this clown graphic is excellent. It is incredibly good. I've been looking for one of these for a long time, but I haven't had any luck. This is a really, really, really good graphic. Like, this face down here, super disturbing. Like, whatever's happening with these eyes, it's like it's almost melting. And the shape. I think the shape, if this graphic were on a popsicle, I don't think I would be perceiving it this way. I think it's a smart choice for the shape of the deck. I think this is a previous Catfish Barbecue collab. This is like old. This is from like 3 years ago. This one's very non-distinct. Like, I don't really know what's happening here. This is a very cozy graphic. I think this is more so Catfish Barbecue's side of the graphic design. I can't really put into words what this brand makes me feel. Like, it's so unique. It is super sophisticated in a way that's like I can't describe. I don't know. I really don't know. These are just like excerpts from a book, which is also cool because I think these are paper graphics, so you're literally just using the book paper as the paper graphic. Yeah, you can tell because there's like text on the other side as if it was on the other side of the page. I like that a lot. So I think this the image of Plenty Chips and just the quality of all of these graphics except for this one, I think it outweighs what this graphic is showing me. I don't know. I think Plenty Chips is pogging. I'm not gonna lie, and I think they're going in the God mode tier. Burn me at the stake if you must, but I think that's where they belong. Some of the most unique like art direction I've ever seen. Like, if it's leaving me like at a loss for words of how I feel, then it's doing something very, very cool. So yeah, they're there. Next, Stacked. So Stacked is a fingerboard company that I haven't really been too familiar with. I've always heard about them, but I've never really understood like the hype. Oh, they did a collab with Dynamic. Ooh. Oh wait, no? I wish Dynamic made them. Maybe not. Maybe it was just a one-off. That is super sick. So Stacked is kind of, from what I can tell and like people I've talked to, they're kind of in like the hype realm of fingerboarding, kind of like with Beast Pants, and what I'll also get into with Snake House. They're collected a lot. Like, they're very collectible. But with that being said, I like some of these. Like, this embossed stuff is kind of cool. I like this graphic. It's all right. Nudity on graphics, I really, really don't like. I don't know. It's just something about it being, I don't know, it just feels weird. It's kind of how I felt about Joy-Cole with like some of that like hentai stuff. It's just so whack. This isn't as nearly as bad as that Joy-Cole graphic. Yeah, so I'm not really sure like what identity Stacked is trying to go for, because there's like kind of two different graphics that I'm seeing here, which is like this like kind of artistic, like what feels like a painting kind of stuff with like that shirt graphic, and this like baseball bat graphic. Very artistic and very feels like paintings on a canvas or something. But then there's also like this kind of like more graphic design stuff. There seems to be like a brand confusion in my eyes. But I also could just be dumb and not really understand Stacked, because I'm not super familiar with them. But I'm just basing this off of what I see. I do like this graphic a lot. The black into white with the embossed. I think that's a really good one. But I guess overall, I'm just not really like, I'm not super like stoked on Stacked. They're not really like speaking to me how they seem to be speaking to other people that I've talked to. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of impartial. Oh, they did a Digit collab. Stacked is, they're solid. I would ride a Stacked deck over an Awful deck.
So I know I sounded like Stacked was gonna go into the mid tier, but I actually do think some of those graphics kind of outweigh the mid and going into the solid because of the design and what I can only assume is good build quality. So yeah, I was getting a little tired toward the end, so, and I'm also getting tired editing this, but yeah.
Okay, finally Snake House. And I was trying to look at Snake House and like see their graphics, but they don't really like put a ton on their Instagram. But from what I've seen on like people's stories and like unboxings and stuff, Snake House is incredibly like bougie. Like, they are highly sought after. Like, look at that. Look at that. There's like sparkle. It's like, this is like fingerboarding for royalty. It's like super glamour, like kind of flashy graphics. And these plies are crazy. I'm sure that's probably why they're also hyped up, is because these plies are nuts. And it seems like they're pretty consistent with that. It's not like they do one-off stuff like that. It seems like the plies are always like this. It reminds me of like medieval kind of stuff too. Oh wait, here they are. Like this kind of screams medieval, with like the swords and the snake and like this like geometric kind of stuff. It reminds me of stained glass and like this little like this little bag of doubloons depicting your cart on the website is also what's making me feel a little like more medieval about it. Super intricate designs too, like with all these little. It's like a rug, like it's like an old rug that you'd find in like a living room with like patterns and stuff. I don't know if I necessarily like it, but I understand the design aspects that they're going for. Yeah, this is totally like gold, like this looks like a palace maybe. It's really hard to see what's happening. Yeah, these decks almost feel like treasure. Like they're like I don't know. They're valuable. Like especially with like this gold stuff and like I'm pretty sure they also have like silver like glitter almost in some of these too. This is kind of getting hard to look at. There's like so much going on. It's hurting my eyes. Yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say. I see the brand and I see the identity. I just don't know if I'm a huge fan of it. But I can't deny the quality of what Snake House does. And I know I can see why people are really into this stuff. And I can also see why they're all sold out. Like this is almost always sold out every drop. So with that being said, I see the vision and I see why they're hyped. But I'm not a huge fan of what's happening visually. I'd say they're solid. I'd say they're definitely above stacked for sure. That might get me some hot water with that take, but what is this video if it's not my opinion, you know? But yeah, that's the list. We didn't really have anybody end up in the not good tier. That's okay.